Howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system. Found underneath the art villa in the jungles of the... Oh, I screwed that up. Never mind. Okay, here I am. Howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the art villa found somewhere in the jungles of the Midwest. This isn't a do-over, it's just an addition because I just tested the FS250. And by the way, I got the number wrong. As you saw in the video, the other one is not an 86 and an 81. I always called it an 86 for some reason. Anyway, 3 days in a row. How does he find the time to do it? Because you're not doing anything else you should be doing. Well, that's not true. There's just been some energy. And I'm going to crash soon and go away. So just, you know, here it is. It's just whenever. Okay. And there's a few records. Oh my God. How did he find more records? Well, I went out today to buy a new weed eater, which is the topic of this video, along with the story with the... So the deal is, okay, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. Maybe I'll just describe it and show footage of the weed eaters that I'm dealing with right now. Okay, first I'm going to start with the FS86, which is a still bike-handled, referred to as a bike-handled weed eater. There it is. You're looking at it. And that weed eater I've had for 25 years. I'm thinking about 25 years. I probably still have the sales slip here someplace. But it's basically when I you know, started the whole process of weed whacking this hillside. And there I'm showing the hillside. And when you're looking down on it, it's not like when you're down there looking up. When I first moved in, the hillside was 7 or 8 feet tall with saplings. And I spent 3 weeks every day, about 3 hours a day, with a pickaxe on the hillside, chopping roots and trees out of the whole deal there. Okay. So then I used this this weed eater, the FS86, just to do this hillside. And I've always used poly blades on it. And I'll probably show the poly blades if I could remember all of this. If you don't see it, it's because I talked about it and then I went to bring up and film everything. And anyway, poly blades is a black circle with blades in there, and you got there's like 8 in a package, and it costs $12 or something like that. That's how Still makes their money back on those blades. Okay. Now, but I have to say, using this weed eater for 25 years, I've never done anything to the carburetor. It's always run. There's been times where I've had to adjust the carburetor, you know, of course, change spark plug, clean filter, you know, we do that all the time, just general maintenance. But the things run flat out. You know, I run through 2 tanks of gas on the hillside, so it's like takes me, if I do the whole thing, which I'm getting older now, and it's really hard, because you fall down a lot when you do the hillside. It takes me a couple hours, pretty much, to do it. Moving slower, it's just real. Anyway, never mind that. Okay. But it's never had, even though when I bought it I didn't know anything about weed eaters. I bought it and I probably told the people what I'm going to do, and they thought they knew what I was going to do, and maybe it was the best at the time. I don't know anyway, but it always just lacked the power it needed to cut through the weeds that I let grow. You know, sometimes like this, and sometimes in the spring like a foot or more, and like some thick grass and all that. So it just lacked the power to do that. Plus, after all these years, I'm finally getting away from the poly blades and just moving to regular string, nylon, cutting cord, whatever they call it. So that's why it looks pretty close cut now this time through. Okay, now, so with that said, and I've got another weed eater that's not running right, and I replaced the carburetor and it's still not running right. But that's just for around the house and the fences and stuff like that. Okay, so this WeedWhacker that I'm going to show you now, that's the FS250. Basically, it's the 2-cycle. If I remember it, it's the 2-cycle still. It has competitive power features. There's a whole video online, a good one, that compares that with the 130, I think, which is they're kind of an equal type unit. But I wanted the 2-cycle, and I'm just doing a hillside, so it's not like I'm cutting around flower beds and trees and all that stuff where I have to be dainty. I don't have to be dainty. I want ass. I want to kick ass with the weed eater. So basically, it's the higher end. It's expensive. But, you know, always buy more than you need. That's and a tool you'll probably, if you're just into tools and doing stuff, when you buy a tool and you don't think you're going to use it, and if you live another 5 years, you're probably going to use it again and pay for itself. There's just a number. times I've done that where I thought I'll just never, I shouldn't, and even at 57 years old, that's me, Manic Mark, 57. I think it would be weed whacking hillside if I should have lived for at least another 5 years. So I think this is definitely going to be worth it. So, but the point is, getting older, like if I can move faster and do things without having to double and wait and do that, not be on the hillside, wrecking my feet for 2 hours, it's very painful. It looks like somebody took a belt and, you know, I wear the combat boots because they don't slip and they're tight. These Vietnam jungle combat boots. They are lace up tight around your foot, kind of like a sock, so your foot's not sliding in your shoe. Okay, and even though I fall down and do slip, it's not, you know, but it's just like somebody took like a belt and beat your feet until they were red with welts because of the hillside so steep, even though it doesn't look it when you just look at it, you know, in the video picture. Isn't this interesting? This is why you're here. It's for the subtleties. What was I thinking? I thought subtleties, that's ridiculous. The subtleties and the nuances. And it used to be, what is he going to do next? But now you pretty much know. Like, what is he going to do next? Well, it's going to be records. I'm just going to hold up some records. But there you go. So I haven't put gas in it yet. I haven't started it up. And I really don't have anything pressing to do. There's some little areas, but I'm going to do it and get it started. And expensive. So why am I going through all this? Well, what got me thinking about the whole thing was the artist Stephen Chandler had this weed whacker incident where he got a weed whacker from Home Depot, and there was something to deal with it. It was a 2-cycle, and he didn't have the gas can, and it didn't do what he wanted to do, and it was like, you know, he had to take it back. So, and then it mentioned getting steel weed whacker. So I wanted to say that the one that I have 25 years old, never had a problem with. The one that's newer, probably more like 14 years old, I had to replace the carburetor, and there's a spring rusted in the button thing, and I haven't replaced that yet, and I can't get the thing to run right. The throttle versus whatever, and nothing I do on the settings of the carburetor keeps the thing running. It wants to die or run out of gas or not get enough gas or too much gas. I can't figure out exactly what it is, and I'm wrestling with it, and I need it because it's a lighter one for anyway. So I'm just saying that, but it ran for years just fine. So it's not, you know, it's probably, if I just took it in and paid somebody to take care of it, it would be fixed and done, and I would be back in business again. It would be just fine. So there's nothing wrong with the engine. It's just something to do with the damn carburetor setup anyway. So, but I highly recommend it. But I recommend getting more than you need. So a machine that's got more ass in it than you need, because one, it's not going to run as hard if you're doing lighter jobs, right? Or if you have to step up and do heavier jobs, you got what you need right there already in front of you. And if you want to, you know, go ahead and there's videos online which people compare all of them. Anyway, that's just my experience with the WeedWhacker. And now I think it's going to be cool. So now we're going to go to radios. What the hell? Records. So today they're in the record store. I'm sitting there at the 50-cent bin at Half Price Books and going through. These are all from 50-cent bin. And I'm going through, and then here comes another young woman, tall and short shorts on, and she's, you know, but she's not as bad as the men who get right up there with their face, right in your face, like, what are they thinking? I don't know. But she gets pretty close, and I'm not complaining this time. I'm like, that's kind of nice. I didn't mind it. I'm not even going to get it. It's just silly. You check out. So now I'm doing pretty good. Like, first time I'm through it, like, I have these long onions. I call them onions. What the fuck are they? You know, like, where the fuck are these? How do I figure this fucking thing? And I avoided it for quite a while because when you buy vegetables, the vegetables, they haven't been genetically enhanced to have the barcodes grow into the vegetable. I think that needs to happen, Monsanto, if you could please. Create vegetables that have the barcodes that grow right into them. Okay, so the vegetables don't have barcodes, so I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, and they have to come over and help you, and oh, it's like not a Vidalia, not a round onion, it's whatever. And then I'm thinking, well, how are they watching you? Is there somebody in the eye in the sky watching you that if you punch in 1 red onion instead of 2 red onions, so you can steal an onion, Well, did sirens go off? Or has Monsanto genetically encoded and created vegetables that have a security strip inside of them? That's something else they could do. So when you walk out the door, they can catch the thieves that punch in one onion when they're taking one for free. In other words, stealing the onion. The sirens will go off and they will be tackled to the ground by the person that they have standing at the door, who's probably waited for 5 years at Meijer, just waiting for the day that they have a chance to tackle somebody. You know how they are. Give them a little power, little brown pants and red Meijer shirts, and they just want to do something with that power. WEBN's a radio station. If you're from this area, everybody grown up that's my age and younger and whatever, they're still on the air, and it's kind of like, it's not classic rock, and there's some heavy metal. Also, interestingly enough, surprisingly enough, in the 50 Cent bin was I got this. It's the Stereo Action Goes Hollywood with Marty Gold. The Stereo Action series is a heavy damn cover. And why is it heavy? Because this is die cut right here. It means there's a hole punched in it, and on the inside, RCA put this really slick cardboard printed sleeve for the record that would show through. So they're just fun to own, that series, and that's in pretty good shape. And it would have been trashed in another week. They had jammed it into, never mind. Don't even complain about that. I was going to say I'm going to try to stop complaining in all my videos, but if I do that, then I wouldn't make another video. Okay, go on to the next record. It's Fred Murray Dance School Records. In this case, it's a twist, and I don't have that one. Here's a Pres Prado. It's a hits record on RCA from, where's the date on this, 1960 Pres Prado. And I've got all these songs on various albums, but what's interesting is this is on RCA, which is a major label, okay? But many budget labels press Prado stuff like the Mambo Jumbo and number 8 and number 5. So there's various, and so I don't know, how could they do that when RCA published this? What were the rights things going on? It's almost like there were no rights on some of his songs, and then just other budget companies just pressed the stuff. And so, but maybe he made more than one version of a song. Anyway, so I bought it for that reason, just to check out to see if it's anything like any other. Anyway, okay, Kitty Kalin. I don't know who Kitty Kalin is. No, but I picked it up because it was kind of a clean record. There's a song on it called My Coloring Book. That's where they got it. All right, never mind. But it's not, thematically, it's not consistent all the way through. It's a budget record. It's a jukebox hit. It's a pop of jukebox favorites. I thought it said Rudy Valley off the top of my head, but it's a guy that knew he had to change his name, but didn't want to change it completely. His name may have been Rudy Valentine, or Rudy Valley. It wasn't Rudy Valley, but with the I, it thought it was Valley, but it's not. It's a Y instead of an I. So Rudy Valentine, he had to make the name hip. So he changed it. I don't know who he is. Simple introduction. So it's his first record, and he looks like he's German. He looks German. He's too old to have been an SS guard in a concentration camp. Songs to remember: The Living Strings. There's some debate now going on between me and one other person and maybe another person that the strings are groovy strings. But when you listen to songs that they say they're groovy strings, it's usually the strings are in the background and there's other instruments that are in the foreground, or other like the bass or percussion or something, horns or something, and the strings aren't what's grooving. The strings are sort of like a foundation, like a fluid sort of thing. Strings are fluid, so strings don't have that kind of percussion unless it's like the violin, then that's kind of percussive, but I don't think that grooves either. So some of us say, and you can leave your comment below, do strings groove, or are strings just used as a foundation, kind of a fluid foundation, to build the groove on top of? So they aren't actually grooving, they're just a foundation for the groove. That's the question. Okay. Joe Bushkin in concert. I've got several of his albums. And surprisingly enough, it's just like almost a brand new copy of Julie Is Her Name. I mean, there was almost nothing. I found nothing in all the big stacks until I got right to the very end where they'd stuck some things in it. And why was it there more kind of fun stuff like this in the 50-cent bin. I don't know, but it was still fun to find another good copy of that. How many do you have? I stopped counting, and maybe 5. I don't know. Anyway, and a Herbie Man, the last album, is rough. The cover's good, but it's early. Herbie Man Highfalutin on Premiere, and I thought it was worth just seeing if I could clean it up and listen to it at all. If it played at all, it would be just interesting. Because Buddy Collette is on the album, along with Jimmy Rouse, Buddy Clark, and Mel Lewis. So it's a pretty damn good 5 people. What do you call it? Not a quintet would be 4. What's a octet? Is that a 5? When you get above 4, I need a calculator. You know me. You know me better than that. Anyway, there you go. Well, first of all, I got to say that the strap, it was a harness that came with it, with like a clip, sort of like a backpack you would clip together right in front. It wasn't put together right at the factory. I had to take it apart. So never having used one, it was kind of like a spider web of straps to figure out. Some of the straps were twisted and just inserted wrong. But I figured it out, put it on, and it's really nice. The harness is really nice compared to just the other thing I was using, which is just like one strap going across. This is a harness, like kind of like a backpack thing, and it fits really snug, and just the whole unit feels really good. And it operates just the same. It's just exactly like same 2-cycle as a 25-year-old FS81. It operates totally the same. Technology hasn't changed, and but I don't have any real don't have much weed whacking to do, so I just touched up here and there, and it seems like it's, as it well should be, have a lot of ass.
I don't want to show my behind, but I need one pint of wine. 3 freedom, shoot up, 3 freedom, gimme 3 freedom, spot bop. My nature's getting high, so I turn down the lights, crank up my box and let the music take my mind. That woman of mine.